Well, welcome, Dean. Thank you so much for joining us here today on the couch. Kelly and I are extremely grateful to you for that. Do you mind just giving our listeners a little bit of a rundown on who you are?
I'm Dean from Henry Dean Projects. I've been building for about 22 years now. I'm a carpenter by trade, then went and did my building certificate. I've worked various roles in building, from units to hospitals to prisons to
Prisons?
houses, luxury houses, sort of a little bit of everything. So I've got quite a bit of experience in a lot of building aspects, I guess you could say. So yeah, there's a fair bit in there, and I sort of had a little niche for high-end building. So that's where Henry Dean's come along, and that's where it started.
Amazing. What an evolution.
Yeah, that's
Can we
right.
just go back to prisons?
Yeah.
What did that involve? Like lots of steel bars?
No, prison, not like what you think from the movies.
Oh, really?
But yeah, it is essentially just a concrete box,
Yeah.
but it's quite tech savvy. It's really interesting, not the safest, but
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it particularly, but it was a good experience.
Yeah.
A really good experience.
Amazing. All right, well, let's deep dive in. Walk us through the process when a client comes to you and wants to build.
First things first, hopefully they've got some form of design. Design's probably the most important thing. Architecturally, then internals. Probably the worst thing for clients to do is to come with sort of a half set of drawings and some ideas. That's when I think costs sort of blow out quite a bit. So if they have a really good understanding of what they're actually doing, what are the finishes going to be, then myself as a builder, I can price that as per. I'm not guessing. I'm not sort of, assuming what's happening. So first things first, they come to me with some sort of details. Will be some back and forth on me going through. I'll review all the drawings. If I've got any questions, I'll come back to them. If not, I'll sort of price as per what I've got. Then there'll be a little bit of back and forth, probably negotiating with price and timelines, availability. And then if you're successful, you pretty much get going.
Amazing. If a client does come to you and they don't have their team in place, they don't have drawings, they don't have anything, but they know they want you as their builder, do you point them in the right direction?
Definitely. Yeah. So I've done that a few times already. So pretty much walk them through getting a surveyor to start with, and recommend a couple of architects, interior designers that I worked with previously, and certifiers, and then we sort of just work through that process.
So do you then typically work as a team with like the interior designer and the surveyors and come up with a plan that you can then present to the client?
Definitely. Best thing is for a client to have some form of vision to start with, and then from that we can sort of build on that. And
then you humble them when you tell them the price.
Hopefully they're realistic about budget.
And how can someone looking to build differentiate/qualify a good builder versus one that's not?
Hard to differentiate, as sort of social media now, anyone can sort of look good these days. I suppose you've got to do a lot of homework, go back to old references, ask to speak to previous builders or previous owners that they've built with, go visit the homes, see what kind of relationship they have with the old owners, I should say. Does it look friendly? Does it look sort of hostile? Look at the quality. Look, how old was the build? Is the structure still looking good? Is there mold? Is there cracks? They're sort of little things that you can sort of pick up on. I suppose getting a really good vibe with your builder, seeing if they're trustworthy, how they communicate with you, how they respond to you. Is it quick? Is it slow?
I think it's also really hard in your industry because you might be such a fantastic builder, but you're not doing all the work. That you've got electricians, you've got people coming to potentially, do the foundation. And a lot of those trades are subcontracted, or owners might have their own preference for doing that to potentially save on costs, or just their own personal preference. How do you, I suppose, protect the quality of your work, or are you like a one-stop shop?
One-stop shop. So as the builder, I subcontract all the works out. So I have electricians, plumbers, gyprockers, bricklayers. It's my job to manage it, to coordinate it, and essentially it's my license on the line to essentially make sure it's all build to standard, build to code.
What is the latest trend in a build that you think is great and one that you think is a waste of money or needs improvement before investing in it?
People love curves at the moment. People are loving natural materials, so sort of bricks are massively in at the moment. Natural stone is like the latest thing that everyone loves. So those big colours, everyone wants the greens, the reds. So they're probably the biggest thing. I don't know. It's particularly not my style. A lot of those things. I'm more a timeless builder. I love natural material. I love concrete. I love bricks, sandstone. I love timber, raw timber, not the plastic looking or the aluminium stuff.
Can I ask, what do you think is a really bad idea for a material in terms of aging for a facade?
Yeah, natural materials are probably the worst in the sense of the upkeep in them. So concrete and bricks are obviously going to get sort of weather problems, mold, discoloring. Timber, definitely, you're going to get staining, you're going to get sun and rain problems. But I think the beauty of those products are the upkeep of it. So going back every, 5 years, maybe having to sand it and seal it again, pressure washing, cleaning it. That's sort of my take on it. But I suppose there are a lot of homeowners that are building that aren't very hands-on and probably don't want to do those things. That's why they do the aluminiums and the plastic sort of lookalikes.
So the aluminiums and the plastics age better?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, probably be triple the time in
Really?
lifespan of what it would look like.
Yeah, okay. But aesthetically, do you think the natural materials just tend to look better, or?
I feel, yeah, definitely. In my opinion,
Yeah.
I would go with the
'Cause
natural.
you notice all of these buildings that are propped up in the last 10, 15 years, and they look amazing when they're done, they've completed. And then like 10 years down the line, it looks like there's like calcium.
Yeah, so that's probably a lot of different building practices, but depending where you source your sand from, depending how much salt is in there, if it's dry, if it's wet. So laying sort of a cheaper sand that's wet, you're going to get the salt that's going to come out as it dries. That's when it's coming out of the brickwork you'll see on the side of the buildings, or the white calcium coming. Then
How do you get rid of that?
you try and seal it. So best thing is trying to seal it like with a penetrating sealer. So water can't go in, but moisture can come out. So it's always breathing. But then best thing to do is to dry your sand out and buy a quality sand. Different products you can put in the sand to stop that fluorescence sort of coming through. Waterproof over your screeds externally, so then the salt isn't actually coming through.
As a builder, do you recommend to clients where to go to buy these materials?
We as the builder sort of...
Oh, you source
Yeah,
it?
we source
Okay,
all those materials. Things that clients probably use source will be maybe some lighting, some tiles, timber flooring, those sort of things. But major items, usually the builder.
What's a mistake you see buyers make that could be easily avoided?
My probably biggest thing is buyers purchasing properties overpriced and then cutting back on the build cost, not appreciating what that cost actually is. 2-story houses now can't be built for, $800,000. Custom homes, do you know what I mean? You want a custom home in a good area where you've probably spent extra $200,000-300,000 on the land, then you're trying to save $200,000-300,000 on the build. It just doesn't work. So I think most people just be a little bit realistic on the build cost and the quality. Depending if you want a custom home, you have to sort of pay for that.
Quality.
Yeah.
What would the average cost of an extension be these days?
Depending the square meter, but a single story extension, maybe 350, 400,000. Maybe just you're talking kitchen here and just an extension, a lounge dining sort of thing, maybe a bathroom in there.
Budget blowouts. What tips can you share to minimize this?
As I said before, get your internals done. Get your internal finishes 100% before you start going out to builders. If you have that, you're pretty much minimizing any sort of variations. There are going to come little things, which always happens, but if you've detailed down timber flooring spec, you've got all your appliances, all your PC items, if you've got all your tiling, your lighting, basically everything, it's pretty much foolproof. You've selected your bricks if you're doing a face brick, if you're doing render on the outside, the colours, all those sort of things. Feature walls, you're doing Venetian plaster, you're doing timber. The more detail you have, the more the builder can price. Then the owner sort of has everything. If the builder's missed it, that's his fault, everything's detailed there. If he's missed it, then so be it. You wear that cost, Mr. Builder.
How does a builder charge?
Fixed price would be basically you have a fixed price. So you've given the drawings to the builder. Builders essentially price that job. This is what I say it's going to cost, and that is the cost there. Not excluding variations. If there's sort of changes in design, materials change, then yes, the price is going to change a little bit. But as for what you've given to the builder, that is the fixed price. These are the footings, these are the structure, this is the finishes. Any price increases, everything like that, that's worn on the builder, unless it's specified in the contract. Yeah. Cost plus, depending what the builder charges in his margins, might be 15, 20, 25%, whatever that might be. So it's pure fixed cost price plus that margin on top of it. Some builders might do just a management fee, so just a pure management fee. So I might charge X amount per week, per month, just to manage your build. You pay the subcontractors directly.
What's the most common?
Most common will be a fixed price.
Fixed
It's
price.
the safest one for owners, I would say. You know exactly what that cost is going to be with a variance of a couple of percent, you know?
So what is the benefit of the other packages?
You're not playing overs. So as a builder, as a fixed price, we allow additional. So for each subcontractor, if they're costing hypothetically $30,000, we might allow $35,000 to be safe, just in case we haven't allowed something, we've missed something on the drawing.
Is there anything you would like to share that you think would be beneficial?
If you're looking for a builder, I suppose honesty, like try find an honest builder. Got to have that really good relationship with him because, or her, I should say. Building is quite stressful. You have a lot of difficult conversations. If you don't have that trust and that relationship to start with, while it's all good and fun, that's great. But once you start getting into a build, it starts getting really difficult. Once the variations start coming, you know, once there's a few changes, once there's some time delays, it starts getting quite difficult, and you really need to have a good relationship with them just to make it sort of smooth. You want to be able to have that difficult conversation.
Absolutely. You do hear case studies where builders get fired during jobs, and I guess that could come down to lack of trust and communication.
Yeah, it's hard. I think it's hard for builders, and it is definitely hard for owners out there. I think in my role, I try and be as honest as possible. I'm as transparent, as open. Come visit as many sort of properties that I've built previously, meet the old owners. Like if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. For myself as well, I might not, you know, be interested in the owner. It might not fit for me as a builder. And you've just got to know when to walk away and when to
Can I ask a
stay.
question? As a builder, is there sort of a limit on the amount of projects you should be taking on?
Definitely. That's probably a part of the research of the owner, just to see how many project is that builder building at the time, how many staff members does he have, you know, what are the quality of the builds there, you know? So you don't want to take a builder on, I suppose, that's doing 10 projects per year and is a one-man band and he's got, you know, a whole heap of leading hands running his project, you know what I mean? And you've spoken to the builder face-to-face the whole process. Then when you go to build, you're talking to someone totally different, you know? You've built that relationship with that one person. I think that's probably a big mistake with builders and homeowners, but sort of you've got to do your due diligence, I suppose.
Can I ask as well around defects?
Yeah.
Obviously, the goal is to have as minimal amount on completion as possible.
Yeah.
But is there ever a perfect track record that a builder can have, or are defects just a necessary evil that every builder is going to have?
They're always going to be there.
Yeah.
So there's the problem with defects is the owner's perception of what is a defect and what's not a defect. Owners sort of have this idea of this perfect building and nothing to go wrong, but as a builder, there is no such thing as perfect. You know, we can do the very best we can and we can do it to standard, to code. But, you know, you might find a little speck on the wall or something like that, which isn't a defect, but the owner's not happy with it, you know? So sort of little things like that. Defects are more mainly, you know, water. So water problems, is there a fire problem? Is there, you know, Are your windows shaking and rattling during, some windy nights?
Yeah.
They're more defects, but, a little scratch on a piece of joinery and they're sort of very minimal,
Yeah. So in that instance with the scratch, because they're the things that people notice immediately kind of thing, do you as a builder just out of good faith go back and fix those, or do you just
So first thing, before you hand a project over, so roughly about 4 weeks prior, you'll do a walkthrough with the clients.
Yeah.
So do a big walkthrough. You'll do a whole list of absolutely everything. You might stick the whole house, everything like that. You have 4 weeks then to close those items out. Owners move in, sign off on everything, and then you typically give them about 10 more days while they're in there just to see what else is in there. If there's scratches on the joinery after those 10 days and there's marks on the floor and so on, obviously the removalist has done it or they've done it, you've got to have that agreement. But, doors might come loose, your door might rattle. You might see on the ceiling a couple of little specks here and there, which you didn't notice on that first walk. So just an agreement, I think, between the two, the owner and the builder. And that's all in the contract as well.
Yeah. No, amazing. Well, thank you, Dean, for joining us and giving us a little bit of a better understanding as to what the process looks like when hiring a builder and what to look out for and the do's and don'ts. Most of the people listening to this podcast don't know what they don't know, and building, there's so much variance between quality and non-quality. Unfortunately, over the years, builders have not developed the best reputation, not everyone. And it is really important, like you said, to do your research and your due diligence to make sure that you are picking the right builder for you based on your requirements.
Definitely. Cleanliness. I think if you go to a previous site, look how clean the site is.
Go to the sites, check out how clean it is.
Exactly right. I think if you see a clean site, okay, this person's got a bit of pride in mess. If he's got pride in mess, then maybe my build's going to be pretty good, so that's probably a good
if anyone
starter.
Can take any advice, that's it.
Yeah, look at the fencing as well. Look at the fencing on previous sites. Are they falling apart? Is the mesh banners, are they neat,
Yeah.
There are probably some good signs there.
Great.
When you know how your build's going to work.
We'll put a note there.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you again.
No
really
problems.
appreciate it. And if we have anyone, we'll let you know.
Done. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.